Today's practice is focused on embracing all of yourself. So that means learning to accept all the parts of yourself and trying not to judge whether there are good and bad parts of yourself, and moving into a space where your imperfections just are part of who you are. So with that in mind, if you can, please have a block and some cushions or pillows, whatever you've got, some soft things that you can use to support your body. And we're going to start lying down on our back with the block underneath our shoulder blades. So it might take you just a little moment just to find the right position. So you want to have the block on the flattest part of the upper back. So it's really just the flat part of your shoulder blades. And if you're a female, then just where your bra line kind of ends, that's where the block will start, just there. And then letting your head rest back. And if you feel like, oh, that's not quite comfortable, then just shuffle around a little bit. Just make sure that you feel quite comfortable, because we're going to be here for a little while. And then let's bring the soles of the feet together, knees open wide, and let the arms come out wide, palms facing up. I'm just going to shuffle down a little bit. And make sure the head can comfortably rest onto the mat behind you as well. And let the arms open out, palms facing up, and close the eyes. And starting to bring the attention to your breathing. And if for any reason you don't have a block, or if it feels really uncomfortable, then feel free to just remove the block, because we can do all of this without it as well. It just makes it a little bit sweeter if you can use the block. So taking a bit of time just to drop into the body, drop into the breath. Notice how you're feeling. Having a sense of gravity helping to open up the hips here in our Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined butterfly. You might feel that with the block underneath the upper back, that you can take a little bit more breath into the upper body. Let's bring the knees back up towards the ceiling. Open the eyes and separate the feet hip distance apart, feet flat on the mat. And then interlace the hands at the base of the head. So really at the base of the head. So you can still let the head hang back a little bit, but you're supporting it now. And then start to draw the elbows to point up towards the ceiling, and then reach the elbows behind you. So here we're trying to lengthen through the triceps by drawing the elbows behind. Keep anchoring the hips heavy. As you inhale, think about lengthening, so reach the elbows back. And as you exhale, try to soften the shoulders away from the ears. So the shoulder blades just dropping back down, flattening onto the upper back. Just do that a few more times. Inhale to reach the elbows away. And then exhale to soften the shoulders down. Really taking the breath into the upper body here. And just do that a few more times. Notice how your shoulders are feeling, how your chest is feeling, and so how your heart is feeling. So whenever we're working with the chest, we're also working with the heart. And we're going to change our arms here. So taking hold of the forearms or the elbows if you can. Take an inhale to lengthen out through both sides of the waist, still reaching the elbows back. And then as you exhale, see if you can let those arms drop back towards the mat. And if this is too strong, then you can just come back to the first variation at any point, or if you need to remove the block, then please feel free. Consciously slowing down the breathing. Trying to soften the shoulders away from the ears as you exhale, but keep that length through both sides of the waist. Noticing if any space starts to open up. This last breath here. Just one more variation we're going to do. Extend those arms behind you. Have the thumbs on the floor and palms facing one another. Try to straighten those arms, so lift the elbows off the mat. Reach the pinky fingers behind you, so reach them back, so that helps you to open up through the armpits and lengthen up through both sides of the waist as you inhale. And then as you exhale, those shoulder blades, just try to soften them down. So it's that little interplay between reaching and then softening. So another few breaths here. Inhaling. And then exhaling. 2 more. Inhale. And then exhale. Last one. Inhaling. And exhale. And just carefully bring those arms back down by your side. And mindfully starting to make your way back up. So just take your time, because we've been lying here for a little while. And just remove the block off to the side. And then lie on your back once again. So just take a moment here. Let the shoulders just flatten back down, allowing everything to just settle back into its neutral position. And then open the feet out as wide as the mat. Take an inhale, and then exhale. Let the knees drop over to the right and turn the head to the left. Inhale, bring the legs back through center. Exhale, dropping the knees over towards the left, looking over the right shoulder. And inhale through center, exhaling again to the other side. And again, inhale through center, exhale, dropping them to the left. Then inhale back through center, bring the feet back so they're hip distance apart, placing the right foot on top of the left thigh, and then thread that right hand, either holding the thigh or the outside of the shin. Try to bring the legs in, and then starting to take some small circles with the hips. Keep quite active through this right foot. So flex the right foot, press the right knee away from the shoulder, the right shoulder. Easy breath. And then changing direction. And then bring the legs back to center. Take an inhale. Exhale, draw the legs in a little bit closer towards you. Just hold it here for a breath. And then release the left foot down. So keep exactly the same shape with the legs. So try not to move the legs. We're just going to let the legs drop over towards, I just have to shuffle this out of the way a little bit. And to drop that right foot down onto the left-hand side. And if you can, take hold of the ankle. If you can't, then that's totally fine. Just let the arm rest somewhere. Turn the head to look over towards the right and extend the right arm out. Keep pressing that right knee away from the floor. And then inhale the legs back up through center, and we'll just swap it around. So pop that left foot on top of the right thigh, threading the left hand through the center, bringing the legs in. And we'll start with the hip circles. So notice if there are any little glitches along the way here, and slow down as you move through that part where it might be a little bit bumpy or feels like it's just a little bit caught, just to smooth out the circle. And have a sense of breathing space into that left glute hip area. And let's change direction. And then bring the legs back through center. Take an inhale. Exhale, bring the legs in a little bit closer and just hold it here. Try to soften the shoulders down. And then let's place that right foot back down. Once again, really keeping the same shape of the legs, and then let the legs drop over towards the right this time, taking hold of the ankle if you can, extending that left arm away, turning the head to look over the left shoulder. Pressing the left knee away from the floor. And then inhale, come back up through center. Just releasing that left leg down. Bring the knees in towards the chest, and you could either just roll to one side or rock yourself up to a seated position, crossing the legs, coming over onto all fours. Setting up your wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and we'll take a few cat-cows. So inhaling to arch the spine, lifting the eyes, and then exhale, curl the tailbone under, drawing the belly button in, really tuck the chin in, and then inhale, lifting the tailbone, arching the spine, lifting the eyes, and then exhale, curling under the other way. Really press the middle part of the back towards the ceiling, and then we'll just do that one more time. Inhaling, try not to lock out the elbows, and then exhale. And then inhale back into your neutral. Taking an inhale to reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, looking towards the fingertips, and then exhale, bring it back down. We're going to flex that right hand and reach it towards the front, the top of the mat. Keep flexing the fingers towards the face, and then start to press out through that right side of the rib cage, and then let your head relax down. Can you press down through the shin bones? So you stay, there's a little bit of activity through the legs, and you're letting the legs just slide around here. Keep breathing. And then taking an inhale to come back onto all fours. And going to the other side. So inhale to reach up through that left hand, looking up towards the left fingers, feeling that broadness across the upper back. And then as you exhale, bringing that left hand down, flexing the left hand, reach it forward. Flex the fingers towards the face, and then press out through that left side of the rib cage, letting the head relax down. Keep breathing. And then inhale, coming back onto all fours, making your way all the way down onto your belly, bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders. So we're going to find our Sphinx. So spread the fingers, elbows underneath the shoulders, legs just hip distance apart. And then from here, really try to relax the glutes. So we're not activating through the glutes here. Legs are pretty relaxed. And then start to press down through the forearms and draw the chest forward or the heart forward towards the top of the mat. Letting the shoulders drop away from the ears. And you might want to close the eyes if that feels good. Noticing how the lower back is feeling. As you inhale, imagine that lower back area just spreading and releasing, particularly right at the top of the glutes. So often we overgrip into that part of the body. So another few breaths here. Keep actively pressing down through the forearms, so making sure that you're not starting to collapse through the shoulders here. This last couple of breaths. And then just opening the eyes if they were closed, laying yourself all the way down just for just a couple of breaths. Let the arms relax. Just feeling that lower back spread. Just one more breath here. And then let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders, tucking the toes under, just so you can sit back towards the heels. Come forward on your mat. So this is where you're going to need your cushions, or if you have a bolster, then use a bolster. Bringing the cushions to the base of the spine. I'm going to so either big toes together, knees wider than the hips. If this is just not possible, then I want you to bring that right foot in front of you and just have the left foot by your side. Yeah, so that'll be a half variation, and you'll have to swap legs halfway through. If you can, bring the big toes together, knees a bit wider than the hips. And from here, we're going to start to lay back down onto the cushions or to your bolster. You can allow the curve of the lower back to be there. So it's different from our Virasana, where we might be trying to lengthen the lower back, letting the head relax all the way down. And you could either just open those arms out wide, or if you would like to take hold of the elbows, then go for that. If you need to stay sitting upright as well, then please feel free. This can be quite strong. If you feel any sharp pains in the knee, then I would suggest that you come back up to a seated position, or take your half position, right foot in front, left foot by your side. So once you're in your position, just close down the eyes. Breathing into your heart space. So just behind the sternum. And noticing when the words accept yourself in all your different variations and expressions of yourself, how does that feel to reflect on accepting all the different parts of yourself? And for some of us that might feel quite easy, or there is already an acceptance and a confidence or ease with that. And then for others, it might feel quite challenging. You might strongly dislike parts of yourself, or just not familiar with parts of yourself. So trying to move into a space where you're just recognizing if there are aspects that you are pushing away, or there is some sort of negative self-belief that isn't actually true. Trying to accept all of ourselves gives possibility for feeling more connected and more whole, which allows you to be there for yourself and for others in a much greater way. And if for any reason there is that resistance in feeling like you can't accept all of yourself, then don't be hard on yourself here. Just recognize that resistance, and that is enough. Just noticing that will help unravel the resistance. So we're going to stay here just for another 5 full breaths. Is there anything you can let go of right here? And then starting to release the arms if they were up above the head. Using your hands, and again very slowly and mindfully, starting to make your way back up to a seated position. Let's remove the bolster or the cushions out of the way. Sitting over to one side, extending the legs out in front of you. So we're going to take our forward fold or Paschimottanasana, or caterpillar as it's known in Yin. This is again somewhere where you might want to use your cushions if you would like to use a little bit of support as you fold forward, and use as many as you need to. If you don't need a cushion, then just folding forward. We'll just start pretty active with the legs, just pressing down through the backs of the legs, flexing the feet towards the face, just letting the head and the back of the neck relax. And as we stay here, you can just start to let the feet go. So feel like you're just letting the legs go, letting the upper body go. So less muscular effort. And in this moment, can you recognize the fullness that you already are? Trying to be less in a space of, I need to become that, or I need this to be happy, or if only I was like that. And more recognition of what you already offer to the world by just being you as you are right now. Just 5 more full breaths here. Notice if any space is opening, which allows you to move a little bit deeper in. And then starting to walk the hands back up. We're going to take fire log, so taking the left leg underneath and stacking the right leg on top. So you want to try to get the shin bones parallel if you can. So this is another pose where you might use a smaller cushion if you had one to bring underneath the right knee, or if you've got your block, you pop the block underneath the knee. That's if you've got a lot of space. As you stay in the pose, you might find that that space starts to diminish anyway. But if you feel like you need support, then please pop something there. Try to flex both feet so we don't want this sickling of that top foot. And just take an inhale to lengthen up through both sides of the waist. And then as you exhale, start to fold forward over the legs, and then just coming down just to where you can. Just allowing the shoulders to soften. And again, you might want to close your eyes. If you can, come all the way down, then coming down. Just breathing into that right hip. Staying with the breath and staying with the body. There's 5 more full breaths here. And then taking an inhale to walk the hands back up. Just extend the legs long, just for a moment. Just letting the feet fall away from one another, hands behind you, and closing the eyes. And just noticing any feedback in the body. So feedback in regards to sensations or feelings. What are you noticing? And then let's open the eyes so we can go to the other side. So bringing the right leg underneath, the left leg on top now. And really try to get shin bone to shin bone as much as you can rather than coming into your sukhasana or cross-legged position. It's quite different from that. And then make sure if you want to use some support there, take something to put underneath that left knee. Take an inhale to lengthen up. And then exhale, starting to fold forward as to where you can. Really feeling free to stay as upright as you need to, so not pushing. There's nowhere to get to here. And wherever you are is right for your own body. And as you stay in the pose, you might notice little pockets of space that start to open. And that might allow you to move in a bit deeper if that's right for you. Long breaths. Notice if any unnecessary tensions crept into the body. So often that happens in the face or the jaw or the back of the throat or the shoulders. Just 5 more full breaths here. And then starting to walk the hands back up and gently releasing the legs out long. And then we're going to make our way straight onto the back, so letting the feet fall away from one another. I'm just taking a couple moments to make sure that you feel comfortable. You might want to wriggle the hips out a bit. Open the hands out a bit wider than the waist. Close the eyes. And with each exhale, allow the body to get a little bit softer and a little bit heavier. And then just letting yourself come to complete rest. You might want to continue following the breath in and out through the nose for a little bit longer. And as you move throughout the rest of the day after the practice finishes, see if you can notice if you move into a space of judging yourself. And notice and recognize it and try to let it go in that moment. And complete rest for the next few minutes. Feel free to stay resting here for as long as you need to. Thanks for practicing today. Namaste.